Now, I take this. I take an application of this now. It's not rhythm changes anymore, but the same kind of approach to another tune. If you look at page, this is going to be moving to another application of these ideas to a different tune. Uh, it's not a tune that like 1,000. There's hundreds of tunes on the blues and hundred of tunes on rhythm changes.
Mm-hmm.
But then this is just its own tune. I'm looking for where it starts. It's yeah, all those bebop scale variations and everything I'm just passing right here. They're all written out. Okay, it's on page 172. Another bebop tune application. And then if you just look down past the paragraph, first paragraph is called Afternoon in Paris.
Yeah.
Are you seeing it?
Yep. Yeah, I got it.
Yeah. And unfortunately, the chord progression's in concert here. But you can see first the chord progression, C major, then that becomes C minor to F7 to B flat major. If you're putting Roman numerals on these, see we got a 1, then it's like 2, 5, 1 in B flat. The B flat becomes minor, and that becomes 2, 5, 1 in A flat. Now to get the continuation, where is the continuation? Oh gosh, I don't know. Maybe there was a better way to write this out.
So we're on the next page.
Okay, at the top of the next page, page 174,
Yeah.
is the second half of that 8 bars.
Yeah. Okay.
So if you look at it as page 172 has the first 4 bars, C major, C minor, F7, B flat major, B flat minor, E flat 7, continues on page 174 with A flat major. That's a 2, 5, 1 in A flat. Then there's a 2, 5 in C minor, but surprise, it goes to C major. Okay. And then 2, 5 to take me back to C. This is just the first 8 measures then. But why have I written it this way? To show you all the different patterns that I give the kids. We can see what the guide tones are there. I've written the guide tone line too. It'd be like, or a little, that's a simplified version, a little bit more complex. You kind of follow on those guide tones a little bit.
Making more complex is that you're adding what's in the parentheses.
So it's like the B flat, yeah, B flat A, keep the A, or B flat A, go down to E flat and go down to D.
D, oh, right, yeah.
Which is the 7-3. First set there is like 7 becomes flat 7 to go to 3, keep the 3 and it's 7. Yeah. Or go to the 3, drop down to flat 7, and it goes down to the 3. Yeah, there's more than one level of guide tones, as we've pointed out earlier already, and you could do it either way. Now, what I have the students then do is just do everything with one pattern on the major. What the heck? I got it. Something stuck. There it is, okay. So I'll do the major this way. Now that pattern is written above it, 7, 1, 3, 5, 7, 5, 3, 7. You seeing where I'm looking?
Yep, yep.
Okay, and then the second pattern, 1, flat 3, 5, flat 7, that means I'm going up the chord and I'm going down the scale. So that's the pattern I'm using on the 2 5s. And the pattern I'm using on the majors is from the 7, so it sounds like this. Then you'd have to go to the page 174 to get this part. But then I'll have them do it this way. When I do this pattern, what does this really want to be doing? It wants to resolve. Mm-hmm. I wasn't letting it resolve before I was jumping down to the 7. But now I could let it resolve. If it resolves, then I use this pattern. 3, 7, 2, 7, 1, 2, 3, 5. exactly the same ideas now, but I'm starting to change the directions.
Mm-hmm.
And this is where it says third time.
Yep.
Fourth time, using a little bit different directional thing again. Wait a minute. That's just the same thing as the second time, and it shouldn't have been. Oh, you know what? It's written. Their numbers are right. The notes are wrong. Oh my gosh! I never saw this before. It's wrong. Dang. This is what happens when you let other people help with the examples. In the Sachs book, I did all the examples myself. In this one, I had 2 other people helping me, and I just didn't always see everything.
Okay, so in the fourth time through, the numbers above are correct, but
yeah. So in other words, it should be going up the scale and then up. 3, 4, 5, 6 is up, and they wrote down on it. Darn it! Should be this. When you come, that should bring me to the 5, and then it should go. I have a way of giving this to the students that I probably should do it with you, but anyway, I just want you to see the process goes on with other tunes, and all I'm doing is changing directions, but I'm actually having the kids pattern everything. I'm actually using a pattern for every note, every measure. After a while, though, you start mixing this stuff up, changing up the rhythms, and doing the variety things, the range thing, like we were talking about, and even some alteration. And this tune starts to sound. Well, actually, I'll play it for you. It starts to sound like this, and I'm gonna actually. Those things are written out in there, but I can see there's a couple of things not right. Dang. I may have to bite the bullet after I discover enough of that stuff and revise it all and republish the book.
It's usually what happens with publishing, isn't it? Hard to catch everything.
Let's see. Okay, here it comes.
1, 2.
This is with mixing everything up.
2, 3, 4.
Bridge. Now I'm going to start altering a little bit. Sorry. And I'm taking the same kind of approach to this as I did to the rhythm changes.
Yeah.
And then I started doing variation and rhythm, and then I did rhythms and directions and all that stuff. And then I started doing more alteration. Could you hear the alterations?
Yeah. I was actually really excited. There's a couple times like, yeah, I heard that one.
Cool. Yeah.
That was good.
So that's kind of outlined in the book, and I do have a whole video on that tune
Okay.
and how I go about it and stuff that you could check out. It's to just kind of give you a general feel about how this stuff works.
Yeah. So you mentioned, but I'm assuming when you have your students go through this, you don't like hand them this notated like this.
No, I don't. I want them to work out of their ears and out of their brain.
Okay, that's what I thought. So do you just
Yeah, you
how
got to
do
be
how
able
do- how do
to
you tell them?
got to be able to visualize things in your head without. In fact, the way we do all this stuff is with numbers,
Okay,
and we
yeah.
have to visualize the numbers in terms of the keys we're playing and stuff. So, here's how I usually give that to the kids. Okay, I want you to write down some patterns. We're going to write them in numbers. And I'm
Yeah.
going to give you 4 patterns for major. So write major 7 above. Okay, pattern 1, 7, 1, 3, 5, 7, 5, 3, 7. We're just going from 7 up on the chord. 7, 1, 3, 5, 7, 5, 3, 7. Okay, pattern 2. We're just going to reverse the direction. 7, 5, 3, 7, 1, 7, 5, 3. Sorry, I said it wrong. 7, 5, 3, 1, 7, 1, 3, 5. Okay, then pattern 3 for major. This is if we start on the 3rd. So we're going to go 3, 7, 2, 7, 1, 2, 3, 5. Okay, and pattern number 4. This is if we start on the 5 of the 1 chord. We'll go 5, 3, 2, 1, 7, 1, 3, 5. 5, 3, 2, 1, 7, 1, 3, 5. Okay, great. Now, I'm going to give you 4 more patterns. These are for the 2 5s. So write 2 minus 5, 7 on this line. Now write pattern 5. We're going up the chord and down the scale. So 1, flat 3, 5, flat 7, down a half step to 3, down the scale in the dominant key, 3, 2, 1, flat 7. And we're going up in the minor key, down in the dominant key because it changes halfway through the bar.
Right.
Now it's the same key since it's a 2 5. But what I mean is the numbers are on the way up are applying to the minor, and the numbers on the way down are applying to the 5 chord.
Right. Yeah.
So 1 flat 3 5 flat 7, that's up the chord, down a half step to 3, and then we're going down 3 2 1 flat 7 based on the notes for the dominant. Okay, pattern number 6. Now it's the same thing, but we're going to go down on the minor chord. So flat 5, flat 7, 5, flat 3, 1. Pop up to the 3 and go down 3 2 1 flat 7. So the second half looks just like 5, but the first half we're just reversing the order of the notes and we're going down instead of up.
Yeah.
So in other words, I'm building directional changes into all this stuff.
Yeah.
Okay, pattern 6. That's pattern 6. Pattern 7. Now we're going to go up the chord, up the scale. So we're going to go 1 flat 3 5 flat 7, and then we're going to go 3 4 5 6. That's what was supposed to happen on that page where it says 4th time.
Right. Yeah.
And then
It does
pattern
show up on
8.
the next page, but-
Pattern 8 goes down and then up. So flat 7 5 flat 3 1 down the chord, and then pop up to 3 and go 3 4 5 6 up.
Mhm.
And then also have them do this. Okay, put in parentheses 5 because that wants, when you do that, it wants to go to 5. So just write 5 in parentheses because it's going to want to go to 5. That's for pattern 7 and for pattern 8. And then for pattern 6 and 3, for pattern 5 and 6, put 3 in parentheses because those are going to want to go to 3. Now, if they want to go to 3, what are you going to follow it up with? The 3rd pattern on the major, pattern number 3, because that's where we resolves to 3. We're on 3. That's how you follow it up.
Okay.
If you are playing pattern 7, then it wants to go to 5. Then you got to follow that up with pattern 4, which is what we do when we go to 5, when we start on 5. So then I'll give them a sequence. I'll say, okay, now you got 8 patterns, 4 for major and 4 for 2 5s. The whole tune is made of majors and 2 5s. So,
Yeah.
and actually, you only have to do this for this tune. You only have to do it in the key of three major keys. That's it. For alto, it's A, G, and F. That's it.
Why just 3?
Because
Because those are.
then it goes back to A. It never really does any of the keys. Yeah.
Okay. Yeah.
And then I can say, all right, now write down here practice approaches. Roman numeral 1. Roman numeral 1. We'll go 1 5 1 5 1 5 1 5. See, they're having to do this on all these chords out of their mind with numbers.
Mm-hmm.
This is kind of forging a new way of thinking. But once you can forge this path, this really opens your way to be able to think in all different keys and switch things to different keys and things very quickly, which is paramount to a jazz player. You got to be able to do it.
Right.
So it works out pretty well. And then I say, okay, now practice approach Roman numeral 2. We'll start with 1, but then we'll go 5 and we'll let it resolve the way it wants to 3. So we're going to go 5, pattern 5 to pattern 3, 5, 3, 5, 3, 5, 3. Okay, practice approach 4. Pattern 2 going to pattern 6. That still wants to resolve to 3, so then we'll go 6, 3, 6, 3, 6, 3, 6, 3 thereafter. Okay, pattern or approach number 5, I think it is, whatever one we're on. It would be okay, now we're going to go pattern 1 and then pattern 7. That wants to go to 5 though, so we'll pattern 4. So we'll go 7 4 7 4 7 4 7 4. Okay, and then the last one, pattern 2, moving to pattern 8, and that also wants to go to 4, so we'll go 8 4 8 4 8 4 8 4. So by the time I get through this, I will have practiced this in all those different ways.
Yeah.
One at a time. And that's okay, now mix it up. Now you got them, you know them all, mix them up. I'm using some rhythmic stuff too, but I'm not playing very good. But you get the idea.
Yeah.
Played it better when I played it for you with the track. But anyway, that's the way I have the students approach this. This is a fairly big project for a young student, but believe it or not, I've had 8th and 9th graders do this.
Yeah. Cool.
And of course, they're going to work a little slower than if I give it to a college student, but they will gradually get this all down. And I'll give it. I may not give them like all 4 of the. I might only give them pattern 1 and 2 and pattern 5 and 6.
Mm-hmm.
You know, and then later I'll fill in 3 and 4 and 7 and 8.
Yeah.
Well, actually, I'd give them 1, 2, 3 and 5 and 6, and then later 7 and 8 and 4, and just build it up. But with Jerome Bruner, I believe you can teach anything to any kid at any age level if you just teach it over the right amount of time, you know.
Yeah.
Don't overwhelm them, but give them a little bit at a time. I believe that they can get it, and I've had kids do it. I mean, Bryn Chapman, Caleb's daughter, but Bryn, she's now a freshman she just finished her freshman year at BYU, but when she was in the 9th grade, she was able to do this. And she sounded pretty darn good. And she won the 2nd alto chair on the All-State Jazz Band. Yeah. And she became a really great player. She's quite a player. But anyway, I found that the people that do these kind of things, the rhythm changes, and then like after in Paris like this, it just starts to really open the door. And then I start giving them tune after tune after tune. And okay, now you see how we approach this stuff. Let's keep applying it in new situations.
Right.
And they become some pretty great improvisers. I've had some really great soloists.
Yeah. Yeah, that makes sense. It makes sense. Like it's fun to. Feel like I'm finally starting to understand the process.
Yeah.
Of what it takes.
Well, that's my goal here is that you see the process. It can't be my goal for you to be able to do all this just yet.
Yeah,
I,
I would love to. I would love to, but obviously not in the next couple of weeks. It's not going to
I wish that could be our goal, but it's just not reasonable in the time we have.
happen.
Yeah, but if you can see the process, you could gradually work yourself through this process. You know.
Yeah.
Yeah. And actually, I think you could get to be a pretty good improviser.
Uh, that's one of my goals. It's one of my goals. I feel like, yeah, it's something I'd really love to see happen. So take it a little piece at a time.
We're going to switch gears now. We've been talking a lot about theory and improvisation and all this kind of stuff, but we've got to move on next time, which is Wednesday then, right?
Yeah, we can start doing Wednesdays now.
And we were going to, I think we talked about, was it going to be 2:30 to 4:30 on Wednesday?
That should work. Let me just check, make sure.
I'm going to move on to ideas for working with the horn section now.
Okay.
So that's different reading. That's like chapters 2, 3, 4, 5, 6.
Yeah. Okay. The beginning chapters.
The time after that, we'll go into the working with the rhythm section and everything. So next time, aspects of dealing with the public school and working with your horn sections and stuff.
2:30 works great.
Okay, I think that should work fine this week. Oh, you know what? I'm going to have to be in touch with you. My grandson's graduated from high school
Okay.
today, and
Uh-huh.
I think it's around 12:30.
Okay.
The Rio Tinto Stadium. Interesting.
Yeah.
But I think that that's going to cause a problem because I do have two students that I usually teach that day too, and I usually teach them, and I'm done by 2:30, and then we could do our thing at 2:30. But
Regularly.
I don't think I'm going to be able to teach them at the normal time, so I'm going to have to be in touch with you. We'll figure out the timing
Okay. That's
once I figure out what's going on with the graduation timing.
Yeah, that makes sense. I do have a class with Dr. May that evening.
What time does that start?
It starts at 5:30.
Ah, uh-huh. Okay, well, I'll make it. I'll figure it out. That's good to know. I'll figure it out. Maybe I do the teaching, the private teachings after that or something. After we do our thing.
Okay. Yeah, you just let me know and that will we'll make it work. So
Okay.
thank you. Appreciate it.
Good. I think you've seen a vision there, and I'm glad that's what we're trying to do.
Yeah. I'm actually really excited. I feel like some really important things kind of clicked in my brain today.
All right.
I just hope I can get them to stay there with everything else that's trying to get in there. So
Yeah. Oh, that's great, though. All right. Well, have a good weekend.
same to you. We'll see you next week.
All right.